Welcome back to Watching Beautiful Day. This is Weather HQ. Now, Christmas celebration in UP Los Baños put Abaca front and center, from holiday decorations to a fashion show that highlighted modern, locally woven Abaca pieces. The event showed how this truly Filipino material continues to grow in style, craft, and even creative use. To help us understand Abaca's role in innovation and the future of our local textile industry, we're joined by Dr. Julius Leano, the director of the Philippine Textile Research Institute of the DOST. Magandang umaga po, Doc Liano. Thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Magandang umaga, Paolo. Magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat. Yes.
Now, let's talk about yung significance po of Abaca in this year's Katabi Kahimig Paskong UPLB 2025 celebration. Now, why was it important that Abaca was at the heart of yung celebration na to?
Alam mo, yung Abaca kasi is very Filipino, and Abaca is actually a triumph of the UPLB community in putting, in cutting that whole idea, that whole problem of the Abaca disease. Itong Abaca natin na Juscoro 1 is actually the Abaca variety that's resistant to the virus that has been plaguing the industry for quite some time. And I'm referring to the virus talaga na pumapatay ng Abaca. So, it's a celebration. We highlighted it through a fashion show, and they use it as well in the different decorations that they had at UPLB.
Well, you mentioned po that it's more resistant to the virus that affects Abaca plants, yung Dioscero 1. Can you tell us a bit more about yung proseso nito? Like, how was it able to actually resist it? What type of work went into creating a more resilient variety of Abaca?
Well, that was actually the beauty of it, that science and in action. So we have the native Abaca that was actually crossed with a native banana called Pakol. And at yung cross nito gave the resistant variety. And then, of course, there are also a lot of genomic processes that happen, meaning binakross pa nila to further refine it and further improve genomically yung content niya as Abaca. And I think we are now nearing about 90% genomically Abaca pa rin yung variety na to. So the resistance that came from the native Pakol species was actually instrumental in improving the resistance and the properties as well of Abaca, particularly for textiles and for paper.
We've seen Abaca used in fashion for a very long time. It is not a new material para sa Pilipinas, but then at the same time, it is still one of the things that people look for in modern fashion and design. Nakita nga natin to sa UPLB fashion show. But what are the qualities of Abaca that you feel that, we still turn back to over and over again, because it has, we talk about yung tradition in the past, but now we're seeing it more used in contemporary settings?
Alam mo yung Abaca kasi is really Filipino eh. It's endemic to the Philippines. We're actually supplying the world. Almost 80 to 85% of the world consumption of Abaca comes from the Philippines. So, pag sinabi mo Musa textilis, that's the scientific name of Abaca, that's technically Pilipinas. Kaya parang napaka-natural yung affinity natin to Abaca as a material, and Abaca, of course, as an expression, as a tool of creative expression, particularly in textiles and in crafts. So, talagang bumabalik talaga yung Pinoy pagdating doon. And the good thing about Abaca is that, of course, it's ours. It's really us. The fibers from this improved variety is finer, it's whiter, which is more desirable for textiles, and it makes it a lot easier to process now than maybe what we had in the past. So talagang there was a renewed vigor and interest for this material.
Do we also see more demand across the world? You mentioned the Philippines is one of the key providers, if not the provider worldwide. Do we see actual demand for Abaca wherever you are?
Yes, actually, ang malungkot dito is we're actually shipping it out as raw fibers, which is for me not a very good way of, taking advantage of our natural resources. There must be a step transformation in the Philippines. So yes, we export it as raw fibers, maybe for cordage or maybe for other subsequent industries like pulp and paper. But we can actually do it here in the Philippines, and maybe what we get out or what we ship out are actually higher value Abaca products. So this is part of the entire conversation. Textiles is just one of the springboard of this conversation. Kasi alam mo, ang textiles madaling mag-appeal no? Once you see something beautiful, we are really also drawn into it. A very, very Filipino trait. So we use the textiles, we use the fashion as a way to get us to converse, to get us to talk about it. And hopefully we have a better bid this time by making sure that Abaca really realizes its value in transforming lives of ordinary farmers. In the Katabi in UPLB, we actually had farmers that came all the way to Catanduanes to be there. So it's a very nice way of showing how science really works for the people and how this could actually redound to economic and social development.
Doc Julius, I think we just saw a photo of you being part of the fashion show, and can I just say
Yeah.
you rocked the stage with your walk. At the same time, you mentioned it a while ago that this could be used for more, and we're expecting, or at least hoping, that it will be processed when it is actually exported out to a wider audience. Do you feel that fashion and even interior design, because we've seen Abaca used in the decor para sa UPLB fashion show in particular, do you think that these are good avenues to actually process Abaca and make it more readily available for a worldwide audience?
Yes, exactly. That's because that's part of also our creative industry bid. The fashion and textiles are huge players in the creative industry bid of the Philippines. And I'm referring not only to the local and domestic market but abroad. Alam mo talagang ibang level ang level ng creativity ng Pinoy. And the creativity is not just in our designers. The creativity starts in the laboratory. How do we make sure, for example, that with certain materials we can do a myriad of possibilities and myriad of opportunities, because as we always say, as a scientist, we provide the means of creative expression. But one of the artists actually said, we are also artists ourselves. We're also creatives because we also express. R&D is actually creative expression. So this is a very good bid for the Philippines: fashion, textiles, interior design, and hindi lang ito wearables. No, Abaca can also be used for technical textiles. I'm referring to soundproof textiles, for example, even ballistic textiles. So all of these are part of the evolving narrative of our scientific led bid to reclaim whatever we have lost as far as our competitive advantage in using and taking advantage of Abaca.
Doc Julius, it's now one of my personal goals to share the stage with you to wear
Oh, wow.
Abaca or for a fashion show. But of course, it is a holiday season, and I'm sure a lot of people will be interested in more Abaca fibers, more local Filipino heritage fibers in particular. Just what message do you have for all of those holiday shoppers out there who would like to consider Filipino fabrics, Filipino textiles when it comes to yung gift giving nila this holiday season?
Well, Christmas is really a time for us, to rebound, and we hope that with our don't mean they're those small, there's a way for us during Christmas season to actually share our blessings. And what better way to share our blessings than to patronize our own local products, our own produce, and our own little crafts. And itong mga to ay madaling ibigay because you are not just giving a material or a gift, but you're giving a piece of history, you're giving a piece of our culture. And this is a very good way for us to commune as well with our farmers, with our weavers, with all the creatives in the Philippines. And the Christmas season really gives us a chance to also celebrate. Alam mo yung pagiging Pilipino natin, there's just too much noise around, mga kababayan. So parang it's high time that we also put a smile in the faces of people who receives the gifts that we give, and also those who produce the gifts that we provide to our loved ones. And we take the Christmas season as an opportunity to highlight the creativity, to highlight the triumph of science as well. And Abaca might just be an option for you. So please try to consider it. Let's support local. Let's support Filipino. Let's wear Filipino because we are Filipino. Maraming salamat po.
Well, Doc, that will make everyone's day beautiful. Really appreciate your insights and, of course, yung humor and candor niyo po. Maraming salamat and hopefully we
Thank you
can
very
talk to you
much.
again soon.
Yeah, thank you very much.
That's Dr. Julius Leano from the DOST.